The fatal flaw of conditionally submissive women is that it isn't real, and eventually they revert back to their natural state of non-submissiveness. These type of women are con artists who are trying to deceive gullible men just long enough to trap you, trick you, use you, or take your resources when they eventually divorce you. Just like we see this tweet from Pretty Ari. She says, I love dominant energy, not controlling, but that masculine energy that makes you want to be submissive. And if we take a deeper look at this, we can see that her natural state is non submissive because she needs a man to have hyper masculine energy to make her want to be submissive. So basically, she is going to make your life difficult and make it hard for you to even be around her because she wants you to basically manhandle her to the point where she is behaving as she should. So let's take a look at a video that we have here. And this is it's a parody of this topic of conditionally submissive women. And they did a really good job on it.
I'm not taking any of you out of survival mode.
If you want me to be submissive, you gotta take me out of survival mode. Period. A real man wouldn't even say nothing like that.
That's the stupidest shit floating around the internet right now.
It's only stupid because you're not a real man.
When you pick a man, do you look for a leader?
Yeah, but what they gotta do with anything?
What if that man told you in order for him to be a leader, you had to take him out of bitch mode?
I wouldn't date him because what?
You want a man to be a leader when you meet him, right?
Yeah.
Then you should automatically be submissive when he meets you, like you want him to be a leader when you meet him.
It's giving controlling.
You want to pick and choose when to be submissive, but he has to be a leader at all times?
You twisted her words up.
Ma'am, do you want a man to be a leader at all times?
Yep, I sure do.
And do you want to be submissive at all times?
It depends.
You were saying.
Well, I mean, like,
if there were 3 men who lead to the left and 3 men who don't lead to the right, where would you go?
I mean, to the left, duh.
If there were 3 women that didn't require men to take them out of survival mode to the left and 3 that did to the right, what would a man pick?
I mean, but it ain't really like.
Now, as you can see, this was a perfect parody of what we're talking about. And, basically picking and choosing when a woman wants to be submissive is not a submissive thing to do. Either it's in you, it's not on you. A woman, being a submissive or a feminine woman, it's not a choice. It's a character trait. And that's what they're trying to make it into. They're like, well, I can choose to be non-submissive and masculine and aggressive, but if I meet the right man, I can turn the switch off from my normal state and become something I'm not. And that's just a lie, Another commenter said, these women swear their submission is some glorious ass prize that men have to jump through circus hoops to obtain. Fuck out of here. Keep your submission then. Because we're just not buying it, ladies. No man wants to have to go out and try to make his way in the world, fight the demons, slay the dragons, be, competitive in the world with other men, and then come home to a woman where he has to fight and compete for her, something she should do naturally, Another tweet here says, gentlemen, submission can't be bought. It comes naturally. The moment you negotiate for submission, you'll negotiate for everything. Desire can't be bought, and that's true. Focus on becoming a high-value man. Only then will women submit to you naturally so. Be a better you. Save a man. Now, I agree with 50% of this. The other half, the last half, I've kind of debunked this many a times. Now, I do believe that, all men should strive to be better, but mathematically, we all can't be high-value men. That's only the top 10%. Even if you double that to 20%, you're still going to have 80% of men that are falling, in the average to middle area. But if we look at Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, the richest men on the planet, You can't basically tame a Western woman. They're only temporary. And I guarantee you that they were not being submissive. You look at Tia Kemp, Rick Ross's ex-girlfriend. She's all over social media acting ratchet. You look at all these women like, what is that? Sexy Red. You got Meg Thee Stallion. You got Young Miami. You know, P Diddy's side piece or whatever you want to call her. A lot of these women, they just, if they're in America, I would say 95 to 98% of them have been brainwashed into being masculine, being non-cooperative. So you're just not going to get that from them. And like I say, no matter how much money you have, they're still going to be difficult. This guy made a good post and he said, when a woman calls you insecure, it just equals that you're not allowing her to run the streets and run around with the for sale sign around her neck. He also goes on to say, yet it's even more evidence that men can use to substantiate the piss poor quality of the modern Western woman. Even for the high value men, they swear up and down to be willing to become feminine and submissive for. And that's true. These women say if they meet the right man, if you make enough money, over 100K, you watch the different podcasts, they're like, well, if he's making 500 to a million a year, then I'll be submissive and I'll listen. And it's a lie. Look at all these rich men. I don't care if they're white, black, whatever race or ethnicity they are, even the Indian women, not the feather, more like the red dot, the ones over in India. I watch, some of their pages on social media, and they're giving them a hard time too. So it doesn't matter how much you make. If they've been corrupted with feminism or Westernism, it's basically a red flag for you to either use them for fun or stay away. Then he also goes on to say, if this is what rich men gets, imagine how shitted on you and I would be as average men. Get your passports and go abroad to marry women who respect marriage and respect men. And I agree. Like I say, the majority of American women, you can see over the past 5 years, men in the manosphere have been talking about it and exposing it. And even women, they've been exposing themselves on social media. It's the greatest thing that happened for us in that sense of seeing who they really are, and it's probably the worst thing for them because now we've exposed a lot of their manipulation tactics and their shaming tactics, and they just won't work anymore. So if you're a man out here trying to find your way and you don't have a good baseline on what type of woman that has a green flag instead of a red flag, you should date a woman that says things like, baby, let me know when you made it home safe. Maybe she should say, matter of fact, not maybe, she should say, every day, did you eat? She should ask you that question. She should also say, I'm proud of you. If not every day, I would say pretty often, she should let you know that she supports you and she looks up to you. She should also say, I can't wait to see you. And that should be every day. Every day you leave, she should be excited to see you when you get home. She should also say, do you need some head? And that can be either every day, 3 times a week, or some men might like twice a day. That's up to you. That's a personal choice. And you should also have a woman that says, I bought you boxes and socks. And those two things aren't that's not for every man. But if you have a woman that really, really loves you or is invested in you, she'll spend money on you. If a woman does not spend any money on you, that means she's not invested in the relationship, and she's one of those women who wants to squirrel her money away because she's eventually going to leave you. Whenever you hear a woman say that, I need to have money for myself. If anything goes wrong, I need to have it so that I can put it to the side and blah, blah, blah. That lets you know she has an exit strategy on day one, and she will use that exit strategy soon enough. You also want a woman that says, wreck my insides. Basically, you want a woman that doesn't mind having sex with you and she is actually excited about making love to you. You don't want a woman where it's negotiable. If you do this, if you take the trash out, blah, blah, blah. You want her to just look at you and be like, okay, let's do this. And if she doesn't have that desire for you, for intimacy, then that's another red flag. And lastly, but not least, this also goes along with two. You want a woman that says, I fixed a plate of food for you, babe. And she doesn't mind doing her, I would say, her required duties, her natural duties that she is supposed to do as a woman. Just like you shouldn't mind going to work to make money and help take care of the household. You know, it's just the normal base things that we do: provide and protect. Women nurture, support, and they feed you. It's just a basic thing that they're supposed to do. I don't think that'll ever change. No matter how far we get and how advanced we get in society, I think that's just a normal standard. So, yeah, to sum it all up, don't ever fall for a woman that says she's conditionally submissive or conditionally feminine. That's nothing but, like I said, a con game, a slick talking point that they came up to con gullible men out of resources and buy time until they show you their true colors. Because always beware of a woman who says that, because you might as well be playing with fire, dating a woman like that.
And the